I know you're most likely expecting my next Oliver Stone review, but I want to take care of this first. I've just found out that the Academy Award for Best Foreign Language Film went to the Iranian film A Separation. I've nothing to say about that film because I haven't seen it yet, but it looks good and I do intend to see it. But for now, I want to talk a bit about Monsieur Lazhar, which was the film that my own country submitted to the Academy Awards. Monsieur Lazhar is one of the best Canadian films that I've ever seen. It's a small character story that deals with death, blame, lies, and the relationship between a teacher and his students. The movie opens up with a horrifying prospect. A teacher has hanged herself in her classroom, only to be discovered by one of her students. The school goes into a hasty recovery process, searching amongst the students for any negative reactions that need to be treated. A replacement teacher is also necessary. The replacement arrives in the form of an Algerian immigrant named Monsieur Lazhar. He's a mature man with a more traditional style of teaching. His sudden arrival is a bit unexpected, but since nobody else is available, the school decides to pull some strings. And naturally, he has to take on a class that's handling the death of their former teacher with mixed reactions. The two prominent student characters in the film would have to be Simon and Alice. Alice needs to deal with a mother whose job makes her absent a lot of the time, and she begins to warm up to Lazhar's fatherly concern for his new students. She also seems to have a lot of bitterness aimed toward her friend Simon, who is another matter entirely. While he hides it at first, Simon is deeply affected by his teacher's suicide, especially considering that he was the one who discovered the body. Simon has a fascinating character arc in the film, which leads to a lot of hostility from him, and that in turn leads to a very powerful and moving scene involving Simon, Alice, Mr. Lazhar, and the other students in the classroom. Lazhar, meanwhile, has his own trauma to deal with. However, he holds his cards close to his chest, unwilling to share with anyone his grief or his hidden fears. Instead, he looks to the well-being of his students, and we watch as they develop a very deep trust for each other. In between showing us Lazhar's assuming control of the troubled class, we get commentary concerning the teaching situation within Quebec. As Lazhar transitions from his life in Algeria to his new job in Quebec, he gets caught up in the other teachers' opinions and views toward their jobs. The issue of discipline and proper behavior, some say, is putting every teacher into a headlock as to what they can and cannot do. The film shows how sensitive of a subject it all is, but it also points out that sometimes, in the right place, and with the right people involved, a trusting hug is exactly what a child needs to feel comforted. Monsieur Lazhar is played by Mohamed Falaj, who is famous for mostly being either a playwright or a comedian. Falaj plays Lazhar with a very calm, grounded persona. He's immaculately polite, he's reserved, and he almost misses when a coworker catches his eye. Falaj does an amazing job playing this man, and he truly helps make the film so memorable. Meanwhile, the children are also very well portrayed. Both of the main children portray their characters with a kind of talent that's so rarely seen from child actors. I really hope they go on to get the careers and the accolades that they deserve. The movie is set in Montreal, but it might as well be anywhere for all the location matters. The issues are universal and controversial. How do you deal with a suicide done so publicly in a classroom? What were the reasons for it? How do you deal with the students? Do you hide behind red tape and distraught parents' demands? Or do you let the students speak for themselves on how they feel? The questions asked don't have simple answers, and the movie understands that completely. It allows us a glimpse into these characters, and we're completely sucked in. We care immensely about what happens to Lazhar and what happens to his students, how they'll recover from this, how they'll move on. Now, personally, I've been trying to make French my third language, but I still needed the subtitles that were offered. As I've said before, I don't mind subtitles to enjoy a foreign language film. It doesn't take away from the film in my opinion, especially considering how touching and universal of a film that this was. I definitely intend to see A Separation one of these days, but it will certainly have to be good if it beat Monsieur Lazhar to the Oscar.